Hey everybody, Johnny Disc Golf back with another off-season interview. This time I am joined by the Cookie Monster himself, newly minted Team DGA player, Mr. Andrew Marwede. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, man, happy to get to talk to you. You're one of those players that we see a lot on video, but we don't necessarily interact with a bunch, you know? First question though, how's the off-season been? We haven't heard a lot from you this season.
It's been pretty good. Obviously, it's been busy the last few weeks, so finally starting now to enjoy the off season.
Mm.
Uh, Up here in Michigan, so it's been cold and snowy and windy every day. A lot of practice indoors, but mostly just enjoying the off season and then getting ready to work. Back next month. So
Yeah, so I had a conversation with Kyle Klein a couple weeks ago, and he said he almost like hasn't even touched a disc in a couple weeks. There's been like 20, 30 inches of snow on the ground. Has that been your experience too? Are you feeling a little rusty, or how's it been?
I'm not feeling too rusty. Obviously, have a whole new bag and a lot of new discs to try out. So you know. Like before Christmas, we had a few days in a row where it was like 40 degrees, which is like
Mm.
heaven. I have a nice setup in the basement. I mean, a basket and a net, so still getting my putts in, still getting my throws in, but definitely waiting to get out to Las Vegas and Arizona here pretty soon.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned it, a full bag, new of discs. The obviously the headline for you this offseason, switching to DGA from Innova. Talk to me a little bit about that process. Has it been fun throwing all these new discs, or trying to throw them into a net? Has it been a little anxiety? How's it been for you?
Definitely anxiety, but also very much fun. I got to fly out to California and play
Hmm.
weather my first week being out there, so that was awesome. Obviously, everyone knows it's a little different throwing discs in extreme cold versus fair weather. So
Hmm.
going out to start the season might be a little different, but I'm starting to feel more and more confident each day. Obviously, the switch from Innova to DGA, everyone knows, every disc is different between companies, but they're all the same
Yeah.
essentially. I think I remember hearing it. I think when Macbeth moved from Innova to Discraft, I remember him saying something about not trying to represent like this disc equals this, more of a
Mm.
learn new discs as they fly. So I'm trying not really to compare too many discs, but just trying to learn them as they are and go from there.
Okay, beautiful. I love it. Well, let's back up a little bit to when this all started. You had a great season objectively last year, probably the best season of your career. I don't know exactly, but I would assume. Um, when did talks with DGA start? And was talks with Innova never really a thing?
No, I mean, talks with Innova was definitely a thing. It just couldn't quite agree.
Hmm.
So uh, it was I actually got the DGA contact from Bob from Discraft, so
Oh,
talking to them. But it was honestly not too long before I signed with them. As soon as I started talking to Scott and Kelly from DGA, it clicked very, very quickly, and I think the decision was made. I can't give you an exact time frame, but
sure.
within a couple. So it was everything went through pretty fast and pretty smoothly.
What was the like what was the kind of linchpin to get you over there? I mean, you're a fantastic player. You're one of the best players in the world, just, unquestionably. What was it about DGA that made it click for you? You said it was like right when you started talking, it just felt right.
Yeah, obviously with the talking comes communication. With DGA being a much smaller brand than Innova, there's a smaller, tighter, community there over at
Hmm.
DGA, to where like they can really put more focus in, and not that it has to be the focus on me per se, but the focus of their company, their brand, the players that they sponsor. It's just a little easier to work with, and it's everyone over there is just amazing people. So it just one of those things that just kind of just clicked, and
Hmm.
I think being able to try to be that person for their company and for their brand might obviously help us both out in the long run here.
Yeah, no question. Last year we saw Matt Bell switch to DGA, but really only for 1 year, and then now he's kind of thought space athletics and doing like an open mixed bag and that type of deal. Like, what was you're two different people, right? So I understand that everybody has two different values and all that stuff, but like, what's different for you that makes it feel like this is a place that you've landed and you can be like a pillar of this team for years to come? What made you feel that way?
It's hard really to say, because I didn't really know too much about them before
Hmm.
this year. So the whole experience for me is rather new, and
Oh,
especially
okay.
with me on Innova for the last 4 years, it really is like the only manufacturer change that I've had to make. So honestly, it's more of a leap of faith, and I really can't give you an exact answer. But
Sure.
I'm ready for the challenge, and I'm super excited to see what comes out of it. But there are definitely a lot of plans and expectations and surprises out for this year for DGA.
Hmm.
So definitely we'll have to be on the lookout for some cool stuff.
Ah, I love it, man. I can't wait to see what you guys have cooked up. Um, Innova. So the main difference here is that if you were to switch to like a Discmania or something, I guess they're old Discmania stuff. Innova makes their plastic. Discraft manufactures DGA's plastic, so they have like a nice working relationship. You're coming from Innova though, so completely new set of discs, completely new plastic types, even new molds, everything. Could you talk about a little, or could you talk about the discs that you've been trying that maybe you're really liking, that maybe even like open up a new shot? I've thrown the Hypercane recently. That one was a pretty fun, overstable, fast disc.
Yeah, I actually like my first. It was my first actual round with the full DGA bag. I had two aces in the same round with the
What?
hype, and that was great. But it is definitely very different. Obviously Discraft, molding their disc for them, and then signing with DGA, I'm allowed to throw two molds of Discraft. So I have a
Mm.
zone, which honestly I've been waiting to throw that disc for a long time now. So
Mm-hmm.
pretty sweet. It's gonna work well. But with the DGA molds, it's definitely different. A couple of the molds I'm digging, like the Aftershock, which is a mid range, which if anyone who truly knows me knows I don't really throw mid ranges, and that's
Mm-hmm.
one that's really clicking for my backhand mid range. So it's
Mm.
a step I'm hoping to up a notch for this season is have that tuned in. But their main distance drivers to Hurricane, so that's the one I'm gonna be flinging a lot of forehands and backhands with. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, the fairway slots are something I'm still trying to work in on. Obviously, for me throwing the Firebird, I need different stabilities of fairway drivers that really fit my hyzer flip forehand game. So, but it's all working out great and it's going well.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you about that because that's probably what I know you for the most is throwing those Sexton Firebirds. I think of Idlewild, the last shot on 18 or the approach shot on 18 with that ruby red Firebird. Like how, they have a Hellfire, which is Firebirdy, but I don't know them as like a flip fairway type of company. So have you thought about that? Like, how are you going to address that in your game?
Yeah, so like when I threw Firebirds, I had five of them in the bag, ranging.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just having that one mold where I've had it broken in for 4 years, I'm starting to work on, so I have a Hellfire in the bag, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
the most stable one, and then I have other fairway drivers. I'm really liking the
Mm.
Bond now. So right now I'm bagging that disc in a couple different plastics, and it's working in my different slots of what I need for stability for my overstable fairway disc, because that is the most important disc for me. So I have these different molds which equal my stability of what I want in a overstable fairway driver. So just I'm adding in new discs to fill those slots instead of just one disc
Mm-hmm.
of varieties of that. But yeah, it's working out well. I'm really loving the bonsai, and the Hellfire is a great overstable complement to that. So
Perfect. No, I love it. How did you, real quick, last kind of thing on your trip out to California? I imagine you played Pinto Lake, right? How did you like the course? Watsonville is kind of down by my area, so I've played that a few times.
yeah, we played Pinto. That was a pretty sweet course. Especially driving into the property. I never really saw pictures of the place or knew what it was about, but it was pretty sweet. A lot of elevation. I love the
Mm-hmm.
the OB stakes, and it was kind of funny because they were talking to me about, because it was so green, and they're like, yeah, in the winter California, that's our green, which was kind of interesting to me because I don't get out to California too much, but
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah,
was beautiful. It was perfect weather. The course was amazing. So it was a really great time.
yeah. Pinto really reminds me of like 10 or 15 years ago what Brewster Ridge and Green Mountain Championships, like it kind of has the wooded and staked OB element, but like all in one course and a 20-year-old version of a modern disc golf facility. Thinking back on like Worlds playing there, it almost feels antiquated at this point, but that was like one of the top courses in the entire area, when Nate won it in 2011. Did it feel that way to you? Like, did it feel like there was some sort of prestige?
Yeah, that was actually a really good comparison. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Is obviously they have their differences, but the best comparison would be, that Brewster Ridge, Vermont courses out there with the staked OBs and just the really long fairways, and I don't know, it was a cool course, one of my favorites actually.
Nice. I love it. I really love that you had a good time out here. I encourage everyone to come out and play. I'm a Bay Area stan. I love it out here. But I want to talk about golf on the course a little bit. I want to go back to last year. I would say a breakout year for you. It feels that way, especially for people who are maybe like on the outside, and haven't watched you play for the past handful of years. What felt different last year, if anything? Was it just like a natural progression and you're just starting to hit your stride professionally?
Yeah, I think so. Over the last couple of years, when I really started to notice my, game get to that next level, it's just what comes with it is consistency. And I feel like I'm getting to that part where I'm a lot more consistent than I used to be. Obviously, the first half of the season, a little bit of a slower start. I couldn't quite get top finishes. I'd have a couple good rounds for the tournament, but never 3 or 4 in a row, especially with the first half of the season being completely different style of courses. The open golf course style doesn't really suit my game well. Super windy conditions. I definitely thrive in the wooded courses,
Mm-hmm.
out of Wild, Delaware, those type of courses. So I was just able to, to play, I think, 5 to 6 really good tournaments in a row to really show my consistency, and my, circle one putting was, almost near perfect during that
Mm-hmm.
stretch. Uh, Stuff started to pay off. So my main focus is, really to try to make that first half of this season more consistent like the second half.
Yeah, that's a great point. That was something that I was going to mention. Like the two halves of the seasons really feel drastically different in their style of golf. Wide open, Vegas. I guess I'm thinking Texas now. Texas State's is probably the tightest course we have on tour, but still, that's the anomaly in the beginning. Is there anything you're doing, or is there any mindset change that you feel is going to address, like, because if you want to be one of the best players in the world, that's kind of the rub, right? You got to play in all the different conditions: rain, wind, open, woods. Are you doing anything specific to maybe like address those, or is it like I'm confident in the growth of me as a player and I'll get there?
Definitely, I'm pretty confident it'll get there, but I am trying to work on a little bit more distance for my backhand because I can't quite throw that
Mm-hmm.
500 every other pro is throwing, which I don't get. So I'm working on that this off season, and this last year of me really trying to like make that push over the edge. I've been playing a lot more aggressively than I'm used to be.
Mm.
I'm usually a pretty conservative player. Just trust my game and get those pars when I know I can't get the birdie. So I think for the first half of this season, I kind of need to take my medicine too about not trying to be too aggressive. And then once I get back in the woods, that's kind of where I can start to be more aggressive, where there's less OB.
Sure. No, I love it. Yeah, less. I mean, with your style of golf, less big numbers to be had. Just hitting your fairways, that type of stuff. Talk to me about the cookie. Uh, it was maybe my favorite little like Easter egg throughout the whole season is randomly having you throw down a cookie as a mini. Where did it come from? Where are we going from here? Are you officially the Cookie Monster? What's it all about?
Yeah, I definitely heard that nickname a while ago, Cookie Monster. I have no problem, can stay around it, but I think it was a buddy, one of my good friends, was talking to me because I was like, obviously being on Jomez, I was pretty pumped. I was like, talking to him about it. I was excited. He's like, you
Mhm.
should eat. I was like, yeah, well. He's like, no, you won't. I was like, why not? So I just ate a cookie after I made a big putt, and I haven't done it, a whole lot since, but maybe slightly less than a handful of times since, and just gonna be one of those things where every once in a while I'll randomly do it. I'm not gonna do it every tournament.
Yeah.
I don't want to be known for the guy who just eats cookies. I want to, try to, let my game, who I am as well. So, but you might see it a couple more times throughout the season, and it'll be random, so you won't see it coming.
No, I love it. It's such a good, and you're totally hit it out of the park. It's the best if you randomly do it. You can't have it all the time. So I love the mindset there. kind of on that same note of making headlines and kind of separating yourself from the others, I don't really know you as like a social media guy or like somebody who's really pushing to be included in some of the more like the putting games and the other media opportunities that are out there, skins matches, chance versus chumps. Is that something that you would like to start doing, or is that just not you, from like who you are on the inside?
Yeah, I've done it a couple times. I'm definitely not on there a whole lot. If anyone who really knows me, I'm pretty. I kind of keep myself. I'm kind of shy, so I'm not like a huge talker.
Hmm.
Obviously, be a fan or just anybody, I'll definitely chat with them. But I'm pretty when I'm out there on the course. I'm not sure. I'm usually pretty focused, and my really only mindset is practicing the courses and getting ready for the tournaments, stuff like that. But going into that with the help of DGA, and they have Tyler, which is their marketing manager. They've
Hmm.
been helping me out a lot and doing stuff to produce a whole lot of extra content with me. So, but yeah, as for me or myself, I don't really do a whole lot too extra on social media. I do what I can and what I'm comfortable doing. But yeah, I think with DJ's help, it should definitely improve for this next couple years.
No, yeah, very true. And it seems like there's like a pretty good split in the disc golf community over like people who are very, very on top of the social media and, yourself, James Conrad, those types who are just like, I'm looking to make putts and win championships, not like type in boxes and stuff. So I love actually that they're helping you. And Tyler Brickley's got to be like the number one person I would choose to like, you're gonna make my socials videos, like yes,
He's
perfect.
awesome.
He's awesome, and actually that's something I wouldn't mind talking about. Have you like Tyler is a unique character in disc golf. He's got his disc golf comedy. He's now the marketing director for DGA. Have you guys talked about working on any projects together? I would love to see what you two would come up with.
Yeah, we definitely have already done a few things.
Mhm.
One thing's already been published, a couple other things in the works, soon to be published. So, no spoilers, but there is stuff coming out. Um, but nothing else too more planned. Obviously, it is going to be planned, but it's just not there yet.
Mhm.
But there will be many projects throughout the season with his help. And he's, like you said, he's definitely great at it. So I'm excited as well as the rest of the people watching should be as well.
Sweet. No, I love it. Let's talk about goals. Next season and where we're going from here. First year with a new manufacturer is obviously a learning curve. No one would be shocked if you maybe didn't come out all guns blazing, and like right at the top of your game, you're in snow, it's a new bag, it's easy to understand. Do you have any personal goals for yourself, like play wise? Do you want to, is there an award that jumps out to you? Is there just consistent play across? Like, do you write down your goals? Where do you stand with that?
I kind of have loose goals, so a couple main ones, obviously, with I had 4 top 5 finishes last year, one of them losing in the playoffs. So that number one goal, obviously, is to win a pro tour or national tour, I guess they call it now, or
Hmm.
so that's the number one goal as it should be for any touring pro out there.
Hmm.
But another goal that I take good pride in is with my putting. Last 2 seasons, I finished number one and number two for Circle One putting. So obviously to keep that top tier rank for putting and really trying to work on my Circle Two putting, which I mean, I wouldn't say I lack, but it's obviously worse than my Circle One. So in comparison, um, but yeah, those are probably my two biggest goals, and then obviously just try to finish as consistent as possible. I know I'm not gonna, place top 5 in every single event, but if I can be as consistent as possible, it just shows growth and good potential for the future for my disc golf game.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, hit it on the head, really. I think like it seems like there's two different camps. There's like process goals people, and then there's results goals people. It seems like you're kind of more in the process result, just like make my putts, keep my head down, and everything will kind of take care of itself. I think a lot of times that's probably the better mindset to have. Um, how about discs? Specifically discs with your name on them, your brand, your logo, something like that. Are there any plans for Marwede's signature Aftershocks or Marwede's signature Hurricane or anything like that?
Yeah, so there's going to be a tour series. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to quite say what it is yet, so I'll hold off until that's released. But
Okay.
so there will be a tour series released here pretty soon, and then There are works of another disc, but unfortunately, I can't give away too much information. So there'll be at least two discs though. So one being relatively soon, another one being later on in the year. I'm not sure quite the time frame yet, but
Hmm.
I'll definitely be posting it to all my socials and stuff like that. So, but yeah, there'll definitely be a couple molds. So super excited for both of those. Obviously, I love them. That's the way that's why I picked those. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, so there will be lots of discs with my name on it. So very exciting stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to get my hands on one of them. Fingers crossed. It's some sort of tremor. I've actually kind of like. Have you? Or no, it's not tremor. Quake. Have you messed with the Quake at all?
Yeah, so I've thrown a few different plastics of the Quake. Right now, I'm bagging a Glow Quake, which I've
Hmm.
too familiar with the rarity of DGA discs yet, but I've heard they're pretty hard to come by. So it was this to have, but it's really overstable and it's really good for forehanding and backhanding. So, but yeah, Quake
Hmm.
is definitely a staple in the bag this year.
Um, yeah, can't wait to see it. So, obvious question as I'm hearing the background in your house, whose puppy is that, and will that be on tour with you next year?
I was hoping you couldn't hear that. They're downstairs. Mates dogs, but they will not be on tour. Finn and Pablo will stay here.
Oh man, it's a shame. Got to love a good tour dog. Andrew, really, honestly, I appreciate you coming on. I don't have a ton more as far as topics or questions, but I wanted to maybe open it up to you if there's something that you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about, or just your chance to thank the fans and the supporters, thank some sponsors or something.
Obviously, I'd love to thank DGA for this great opportunity, and obviously, it's created all this talk about me and about what my disc golf plans are and my future is. So it's been super exciting, and obviously, I have to thank the fans and all my supporters. People back home in Michigan. My girlfriend, my family. So everyone's supporting me with these huge changes, and I'm super excited for this next season and like what's to come. So, but yeah, I'd like to thank my other sponsors besides DGA. We got Great Lakes Discs and Mitten Bags. So, but yeah, I got my tour van almost ready in a couple of weeks here. So, uh,
Okay, speaking of, sorry, I almost forgot. I can't let you out of here without asking about the travel plans because that's like one of the funnest things to talk about of disc golf. Are you so you're touring in a van? Are we talking Sprinter like Nissan ProMaster thing or like a Sienna?
yeah, it's a Ram ProMaster. So I
Ah,
got it last year, so that's what I toured with. But me and my dad, just worked on it throughout the winter and didn't have enough time, so it wasn't quite finished. Didn't know what we were doing, so. But this winter, I have a good buddy of mine, Brandon, working on it, so he's going to be done with it here pretty soon. So it's going to be decked out and all fancy and ready to go for Vegas.
I love it. Ah, man, I can't wait to see exactly how it looks on the inside. I, have a sneaking suspicion we're gonna do bits of content for DGN related to vans throughout the season. So maybe we'll have to feature you. Regardless, though, I'd love to talk again once the signature discs do come out and once we kind of figure out what that exact looks like. But for now, that's about all I've got for the interview, Andrew. Again, thanks for your time. For all of you at home, if you'd like coverage of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.